Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. AJ, Rudo, Jesse coming to you live. Avs taking on the San Jose Sharks. Opportunity to clinch tonight. They might not even have to win the game. As it stands right now, Vegas and Nashville are tied 2-2 in the third period, and the Flames are down 1 to Chicago after the first. If both those teams lose in reg, the Avs just clinch no matter what. If the Avs win tonight, they clinch no matter what.
Yeah.
So looking pretty good for the clinch. We'll
So
put it that
the Avs basically need 2 points the rest of the season.
Yep.
To guarantee their entry into the postseason.
I had a really funny. So I tweeted yesterday that the Avs were 1 win shy of clinching a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And I'm still pretty positive that that was correct. I had to run through a lot, but I had this one person who was like, well, not technically, and they laid out this insane
If they
scenario.
lose every
8
single
levels
game,
of-
and all these teams win all their games in regulation.
all their games in regulation, plus Nashville beating Ottawa in overtime, but not a shootout. And it was just all this shit. And it was like, then there'd be a 3-way tie and they could lose the regulation win tiebreaker. I was like, hey, it's okay to let yourself enjoy something. Like,
If that
it's
happens,
fine.
Yeah,
kudos, guys.
Right. If
the entire world conspires to knock them out, then
Yeah.
it's just not your year.
Okay. And so it was just.
And then you know what? We are all getting a much earlier than
Yeah,
expected
right.
vacation.
I
And we will see you guys in May.
actually, when I read that, I was like, honestly, if that played out, I'd just be happy. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, you know what? Cool. We'll take the extra long summer.
You're right.
That was insane.
It was meant to be. At that point.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Something bad was going to happen if this kept going. So
We'll just talk draft. It's fine.
yeah. But it made me laugh because it's like that's how this season has been for Avs fans. It's like
People are like, no, this could actually happen.
right.
It's like, no, come on, man. Don't let yourself
Yeah.
go there.
Again, at the time of that tweet, and it still stands. The Avs are 1 point out of the division lead, and they're like, no, this 50-step scenario could take place that would cause them to miss on the last day. Okay.
And you're like, I
They
mean,
were,
I guess it could.
The PR, NHL PR, whoever it was, tweeted out earlier today, like, oh, the Avs were outside the playoff bracket,
Yeah.
like whatever
3
games
months ago
or whatever,
Yeah.
and they were like, they've won 26 of 39 cents, and I was
Yeah.
like, sure doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. Second most behind Boston. Like,
Yeah.
It
Far
doesn't
the
feel
most in
like
the
it,
West
man.
by
It
like a
feels like
lot.
every loss has been a punch to the dick. So
Sometimes you got to do it the hard way. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and it's like they would smash the bad teams.
Yeah.
And then they would lose that nail biter to Minnesota. It was like, they can't beat anybody that's good. And it was like, oh my God.
Well, they have a bad team tonight.
Yeah, a team that they beat 6-0 last time they played. Now, granted, in Denver, on a Sega Baba, while
Nope.
the Avs were just chilling.
no Kale McCarr.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
no
Cale
Darren
McCarr,
Helm.
no Darren Helm. Cool.
Neat.
Look, man. Ben Myers.
Well, and like before anyone loses their minds, both of these are almost certainly more maintenance than anything else.
Yeah.
Makar has not been practicing for like a week now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Helm, I would chalk it up to not necessarily load management, but we all saw what he did in the playoffs last year. They're like, yeah, we want that. We don't really give a shit what you do these last 7 games.
And this is a guy who literally last time he tried to come back from this
Right.
ruined it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kale, I do think it is more. I don't doubt that he actually has some type of injury, but I think this is
it's
precautionary.
been really obvious that something's been bothering him for a week or two now. And they were like, hey, last week, Minnesota and Dallas games were important. They needed those games.
Yep.
So he was going to play. But the 2 San Jose games to start this week with 2 days off, if you just don't play him in San Jose, he basically gets a week off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, this week we'll see, whatever. But I don't personally love it, but with how everything has kind of played out to the point where now all you need is 2 points the rest of the season to clinch, I think you're fine.
I understand this is not a one-to-one comparison, so take this with a grain of salt. If your options are I'd rather sit him now or sit him for game one of the playoffs. You're sitting him now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And if your options are, I'd rather sit him now and have a chance at getting him at 90% for game one of the playoffs instead of 75%, that's a meaningful enough where you're like, yeah, I'm taking it.
Exactly.
You're probably taking it even if those numbers are 87% and 90% for game one.
Any percentage points you can get there.
You want these guys maxed out for the thing that you care the most about.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit as my first topic here is focus, which as the Nuggets are about to drop their game that they could have clinched the 1 seed in. What is the Avs' focus tonight? Is it strictly, hey, let's clinch a playoff spot, or is this more of a, hey, we're still chasing down the top of the Central?
Well,
Yes.
I mean, I was going to say, I actually think for just tonight,
It's just
same,
both.
same. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So option 3, just win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really do think this is. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No,
talk
you're
over
right.
you.
You're just going to say what I'm going to say.
I think coming down the stretch here, there is a little bit less importance on that, and it's more about your processes and getting your game right. Tonight, I do feel like it is. Let's get this done and get this put behind us, and so we can march on.
Okay.
So I think tonight there will be more emphasis on get the 2 points than at any other point on this trip. And you want to win all these games. I do think you'll shift your focus to winning the Central, but.
And to be honest, as long as the Central continues to just dick around and be
Right.
there for the taking, you look at the difference between Minnesota or Dallas, whichever one it ends up being in round 1 versus Seattle, and it's like for me, I'm like, look, whatever sense of urgency those guys don't have, I have on their behalf. Come on.
Yeah.
I think that is a nice introduction into the postseason. You get a decent team that you're real confident you're going to be able to beat. Instead of dicking around with the Dallas or Minnesota, where you're going to have to come out hot, and that's going to be a hard series from the jump. Seattle's kind of like not to be offensive, but with the Grubauer or a Jones in net, you're kind of like, this is like sort of a warm up playoff round here. Like you really feel like, especially if they are going to get healthy, like they could use that round 1 to kind of work some of these guys into the line. Like. It's like, this is a thing that you guys should really care about, but not to the detriment of like, hey, we need to go all out to get
And I guess
it.
that was more my point. I maybe didn't make that perfectly clear enough. Because I agree with that point right there. It's like you want that first, now that you're here, and I remember us talking about it more last year, but we did mention it earlier this season where I felt like that team last year, they had the weird start, they got into the playoffs. It was like, cool. Put being out of the playoffs in the rearview mirror. Then you got into the top 3 in the division. It's like, sweet. Don't fall back out of that. And they just kind of kept that climb where they never went backwards. Kind of treat this the same way. You've been on this real slow burn since December to get to this position. Yes, you'll be in a tie for the division lead, but you'll have, the step forward.
Yeah.
Get there and just kind of don't look back. Get there, get in the driver's seat, and cruise this one home. Take advantage of the fact that you got an easier week than either Dallas or Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, San Jose, Anaheim is 3 of your next 4 games. You should be looking at it like,
We need
Kinda
we're
want
talking
six
about
out of
6
six
points
there,
out of those 3. And then if you win the LA game on top of it, you're really feeling sexy.
Yeah. And to your point, don't go out of your way to get Cale Makar back in the lineup just for first.
For sure.
Type of
for
thing.
sure, dude.
But, get in the driver's seat. Don't get back out.
Yeah.
Starting tonight.
The team as is, the team as currently constructed should be good enough to get through 2 San Jose games. And then if Cale is healthy for the rest of the week, then you feel great about that.
Yeah.
Well,
And then if Ben Myers wins the job this week, you feel doubly great about that.
I mean, awesome. Bonuses all around. Jesse, you kind of mentioned this. Sure, winning is option number 1. The Avs should be focused on some of those details as they head toward the playoffs here.
Yeah.
Where is it that they need to focus the most? I think it's pretty easy to say, hey, look, McKinnon and Rantanen are balling out, playing great right now. Which parts of the Avs game do they need to lock down, tighten up a little bit heading towards the playoffs?
I don't know if this is a cop-out answer, a vague answer, or what. For me, it's what's been the issue all year and what was the thing that was a driving force for this group, the team last season. It's that consistency. You felt very confident about what you were going to get game in, game out, shift after shift, period after period. even if they weren't always dominating the game, you knew you were going to get a team that checked hard, good on the forecheck, hounds pucks below the goal line, shit like that. I just want to see those fine details kind of dial in here because I feel like so much of the story of this season has been they do that for 30 minutes of the game. Sometimes it's consecutively, sometimes it's broken up between the beginning and the end. Just start dialing in those fine details that just slow-bled teams to death last year. That's the kind of stuff. Because there's been just this team, every area, power play, penalty kill, it's all gone in waves this year. It's been everything that you can point to has been good at times, not so great at others. Start getting that steady pace and just really paying attention to the fine details. Again, utilize the fact that you've got 2 San Jose's and an Anaheim here. I heard you guys talking about on one of the show. I think it was the show right before I jumped on, where it's like, yeah, you've played some of these bad teams, so it maybe kind of lulled you to sleep. Take advantage of these bad teams to dial in your details. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see them do here in the last 7 games. They're going to get in. They're going to get, whatever seed. I think they should be shooting for home ice, even if they don't get first. But
you definitely don't want to be opening up in Dallas, man.
No.
The one specific detail I would say over the past month or so, start the game on time.
Yeah.
I think it's been one of the things that have plagued the Avs a little bit is forgetting to show for the first 5-10 minutes. And I think absolutely in the regular season you can get away with some of that. In the playoffs,
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like whatever you want to describe, anywhere from 5 to I think 15 minutes of most of the games this year, whether it's at the beginning, the middle, or the end, the Avs have had this just bad habit of kind of falling asleep, taking their foot off the gas, which was something that we didn't see out of last year's group, where we would remark all the time, like they're in the lead and they're out shooting the other, the other team 15-2 in this period.
Well, and that was what I really liked about the Dallas game is that they're up 3-1, and then they
put the pedal all the way down.
They outplayed Dallas in that third period. Now, obviously, the disallowed goal was a big time game changing play for them, but also if they hadn't cheated, they probably don't score that goal.
Right.
LOL.
Right.
But also, it's like you do have that conversation of like, that's really what has plagued you. It's not that you've just you've had bad games. You've had, think about 4 bad minutes in Vancouver
where 3 goals get dropped on their head.
Yeah, where they give up 3 goals and they're not able to get a single goal in the last half of that game.
Yeah,
and they lose that game. Without those 4 bad minutes, they've clinched a playoff spot.
Right.
Yeah.
And you talk about the those types of situations of. It's not that they have a bad 4 minutes. It's that those 4 minutes have cost them games.
Well, I think about the Chicago game that everyone wanted to jump off of a bridge after, and Jared Bednar has talked multiple times about that game, in reference how when you rewatch that game in its entire 60-minute entirety, it really wasn't that bad.
In a vacuum, no.
Right, they had really solid stretches and controlled play. But they had
their mistakes can't be so egregious.
Right. They just had shifts where they just, and I even think about that Minnesota game from last week. I mean, they just handed Minnesota 2 goals where it's just dumb mistakes.
This is why we think it's a problem, because you say, I think about the Minnesota game. You think about the McKinnon turnover against Seattle. It's
right.
It's the mistakes where you go, just don't do that thing.
Right.
That one
don't do that incredibly dumb preventable thing where Alexander Georgiev goes behind his net. And he's got a teammate over here, and he's got a bad guy over here, and he gives it to the bad guy, and you're like, "What?"
Right? Don't beat yourself. And again, not to always be referring back to last year's team, but when you made a mistake against last year's group, they took advantage 90% of the time. You could not mess up. And I go back to this Minnesota game, and it's like that's the type of thing where you're just giving stuff away.
Yeah.
Don't give out any freebies.
Yep.
Just don't give any away for free.
That's also where you talk about when they get healthy. You get now you get a Cale Makar,
you get some more stability.
Darren Helm, Arturi Lehkonen,
Josh
Manson, and maybe Gabe Landeskog. You're talking about 5 guys that could come into your lineup. What has that done to the floor of your roster?
Not just 5 guys, but
Josh Manson, super stable in the defensive end.
Yeah.
Gabe Landeskog, arguably the best defensive forward on the team. I'd give it to Val, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. I mean,
he
you're
has a huge
talking-
impact on that end of the ice.
What's funny is that between Lehkonen and Landeskog, you're talking about two of your three best defensive forwards are not in your lineup right now.
Yeah.
And when you're asking Jesse what's the thing you want him to work on, my first answer is I want them to hone in on defense.
Yeah.
I want them to hone in on the team defense concept, where we have seen them play so disconnected so often this year that they end up kind of all over the place. Just play connected hockey together. Play team defense. Everybody bought in. Forwards are back checking hard. They're taking their assignments. Don't give them anything easy. Don't give them anything free. And as we relate it to tonight, San Jose sucks. Don't make life easy for them. When Erik Karlsson is on the ice, understand your personnel, know the situation, be smart about it. He's the only guy on earth that you're worried about right now. Everybody else, you can, we'll see how it goes. But don't let that guy beat you, and you have a real good chance to beat the Sharks.
I think it was after the first game of the season. We asked Georgiev after the game, now in your first bit of real game action, what do you kind of notice about this group and the way they play? And one of the things he mentioned was, they're so electric in the offensive zone, but I didn't feel like they sacrificed defense to create offense. And again, that's been a hallmark of the Jared Bednar era system. We dominate in our own end. All five guys are bought in, and it's that transition, it's that quick getting up the ice that makes us so hard to beat. We give you nothing, and we take every inch that you give us. And I like the word disconnected, because there has just been stuff this year where
All
it's
year.
like
At the start of the year, the Manson-Johnson pairing had no connection there, and you've seen it, not with them specifically, but throughout the year. It's kind of shifted throughout the lineup of guys who are
Gerard
just,
and EJ next to each other, where it felt
exactly.
like for 25 games, that was the worst thing in the world.
Right. And it's just,
Have to run that back tonight.
pinching when no one's, backing you up and making weird reads. And we've seen so many guys this year, and not to beat up on Erik Johnson, but that defenseman getting kind of caught chasing out high on penalty kills and leaving no support down low. It's just little stuff like that use these games against some of these teams that you should beat.
Yeah.
To get that shit dialed in. And then that way when you hit game one, Nathan McKinnon can hold down turbo and you're into playoff mode and let's go again. But woof.
The frustration has been that Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen hold down turbo against these guys. They get a 3-0 lead, and then they just kind of dick around for 40 minutes. And you're like, let's
find a little stability.
Yeah,
there.
let's have the entire lineup contribute to caving these guys in.
Right.
We do have
now I'm being selfish. But
one super chat here from Banks, who says, placed a $350 bet at 150 for them to win the Central back when they were out of a playoff spot. Really hoping tonight is a launch pad to my payday. I mean, that bet looking pretty okay at the moment.
I'm actually a little frustrated. I should have. Because even back then, we were talking about them. We think they're going to win the Central. We think they're going to win the Central.
They have top odds to win the thing.
Yeah.
At this moment, so
it's weird that Minnesota has the worst odds. They're playing the best out of all three of the teams.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
I think they have the hardest schedule. I saw.
Yeah, I know that's a big role in it, but I'm also just they're winning all their games without Kirill Kaprizov.
Nashville, dude. That was one thing that I found yesterday when kind of digging through all that. When I got that reply, they just got I actually feel a little bad for them. They got a gauntlet coming down the stretch here.
Yeah, I also had those games been a little more interspersed, they
aren't as
probably
would
not be in the position that they're in.
And I guess I'm just
you trade some of the weaker games in the middle that they've gotten fat on over the last 3 weeks with some of the games that they have at the end, and
it's just, it's always so funny how you play these entire seasons, you go through all these ups and downs, streaks, winning streaks, losing streaks, and it's so funny. It always works out. You get down to the last week and it's like, okay, you play the team you're in a race with twice and whatever. And for Nashville, just happened to work out that it's like, the shittiest part of your schedule just so happens to be in the 2 most important weeks of the year.
Good luck with what the Avs on game 82. If that game matters for you.
The Avs could be playing to win the Central.
A rough break. The game that was canceled, they were beat up. That was not we had no intention of them winning that game that day.
It's 2-2. Vegas going on a power play with 4:30
There
left.
you go.
All right.
Okay.
We have bets.
Yeah, we got our bets to get to here. You can always go with the ridiculous parlay. I don't think we've hit one of these parlays yet, so I got a couple
I
of
think
other
that
bets
very
for
first
you.
one that we did
Was it?
like
Yeah,
this.
you might be
It was
right.
like
The
a
very
Miko goal, a
first
Nate
one,
goal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably that Sharks
For
game.
tonight, again, at the current time, it's hard to find positive money, so I went with some positive money bets here. Number one, Avs to cover. You get plus 110 against the Sharks. They really should cover,
Please cover.
especially in a game where they can clinch something.
Yeah.
You would like to see that. Erod over 2.5 shots plus 135.
Oh.
Someone I would like to see fire some pucks on net.
Yeah.
A little bit, get a little bit of that juice going. When he's going, it's just pretty obvious the difference when Erod's confident or not, I think, on the Colorado Avalanche.
He was buzzing the other day after practice. He was feeling it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, he was just.
So feel good about that one. And then ultra, omega, super duper lockiest lock in the history of mankind. Miko getting 50 tonight?
Ooh, I don't know.
Who's in net?
Kakinen.
Yeah, Kakinen.
Yes, lock that in.
That one's only minus 135 for Miko to be a goal scorer tonight, to be fair. But
Go for a first goal scorer.
there
Try
you
and
go.
goose the odds
Plus
a little.
700 if it's first goal
Yeah,
scorer.
first goal scorer. Let's get 50 out of the way.
I would like him to get the milestone. We'll put it that way. So
I was bummed that I wanted him to get it here because I wanted to be able to
that'd
talk
have been
to
fun.
him.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have
but
said anything.
No, I know. I'm convinced that once he gets 50, he'll be like, yeah, this is pretty dope. I'm glad I got it. And then move on. I just can't imagine that he's actually that indifferent about it in his core. There's just no
Somewhere
way.
in there.
He has to. He has to care. Like 50, like I get it, 40,
Yeah.
45
You don't
even.
ever grow up being like, I'm going to score 40
Right.
in a
Yeah.
season.
Like,
But 50 is one of those numbers.
50 is significant. The fact that nobody had, there's been a lot of very good players that have played here
yeah.
since Milan Hajduk, and nobody's done it. Like it
No
has
one's
to
even
mean-
really come that close.
right, right,
Him and Nate.
Yeah.
right.
They're the only ones.
And it's like that has to just mean a little bit if he hits it.
Well, there you go. If that's not your thing, you can bet on a 3-point night for McKinnon to get to 100 points. However you go about it, make sure you're doing it with DraftKings Sportsbook. Go over there, use the DNVR code. You bet $5 on anything with a new account, you get $150 in free bets. So jump in there with the DNVR code. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See the show notes down below for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Void in Ohio. All right, we are inside 10 minutes here. We have any final thoughts, any keys of the game you guys want to wrap us up on here?
No.
No?
I
No?
don't think so.
All right. Just go win. Clinch a spot. It's not that difficult. Straightforward. We're going to get out of here. Nuggets postgame coming your way right now. So tune into the sadness so you can get up for the happiness when the Avs do a better job. That's how I'm going to leave it. We appreciate y'all. No watch along today. Nuggets postgame coming up. We will see you on the postgame and talk to you then.